Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's session of Gratitude Sessions. Um, just want to thank you all for tuning in this evening as I get settled in. Waiting for a few more people to pop on into the room here this evening. Oh, hey, Carrie, how are ya? Um, and thank you all for inviting followers and tonight we're going to really dive in here because I read something the other day and it really caught my attention. So we're going to go ahead and discuss about contrast, comparison, and choices. So that's like the big three when it comes to gratitude and expressing it and how do we fall in line with that. Thank you all for popping in. Just going to wait just a little bit more time for more people to pop on in before I really dive in here. And just a quick recap of the subject that we are talking about, comparison, contrast, and choices. So, what I read the other day that really got my attention was a few affirmations that really got me to thinking about what we say and how we say it and the energy that we put out there. And these are some of the affirmations that I hi, thank you. So just gonna go into it. So as I go through the subjects of comparison, contrast, and choices, I'm going to take questions along the way, but just want to get into each subject first, and I'll take questions as I go. So one of the affirmations that I read the other day said, "I am thankful I woke up. Somebody did not." That's really got my thoughts to thinking and like, okay, what is this person really trying to say? The second, where did it go? The second one that I read was, "I am thankful that didn't happen to me." And when you think about that, it's like you didn't ask for it. Thankful that it didn't happen to you. And the last one that really, 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 really pushed my button was, "I'm thankful for X, Y, and Z because someone else is worse off." And that really just comes down to all the choices and the comparison that we're doing in somebody else's life and the contrast that we asked for in our life. So the first thing I want to do is really dive into contrast. And if you guys have any questions about contrast as I explain it and how it relates to gratitude, feel free to chime on in there. I will do my best to answer questions as they pop up. I may ask you all to repeat those questions because sometimes I may be talking and not looking directly at the screen. So, contrast. When we express gratitude, I am a psychic medium, and if you'd like to know that question, you can visit my website, hillispew.com, for more information about that. So, about contrast, when we experience something that we are not in alignment with, something that we are asking for in our lives, more than likely the opposite will show up. And the reason why the opposite will show up is because we have to experience that which we do not want to have a stronger desire for what we do want. And most people often say that you have to express gratitude for what you do want and what you don't want, for what you do want to really show up and manifest itself in your life. And I can definitely say I agree with that 100%. Because how else would you solely know what you don't want, or what you do want, rather, when you experience what you don't want? So, when you have what you don't want, or experience what you don't want, then you are more focused, you're more driven to excel in what it is that you do want. Exactly. Abraham Hicks says you always have to look at the contrast and look at it and really pay attention to it and really focus on it. Because when you focus on the contrast, it's like, okay, what is it that I want? What is it that I want to pay my attention to? Which takes me back to one of the affirmations that I spoke about that ran across my attention the other day, which was, I'm thankful it didn't happen to me. And a lot of people say that. A lot of people express that I'm happy it didn't happen to me. And the reason why most people are happy that it didn't happen to them, it could have been something horrific or something that just wasn't in alignment with. But yet, at the same time, the person that did ask for that experience asked for it for a particular reason. They asked for it without either consciously being aware of it or subconsciously, on some level, they brought it into their existence. They attracted that thought, that experience into their world. And so the witness, the person on the outside looking at that, only sees it for the surface. They only see the outside of it. They don't really know what the person experiencing that felt, or what it is that they called into their existence. So when we look at that from the person who experienced it, we have to also consider what it is that they've asked for and what it is that they are trying to get to in their life. You guys understand it? You guys get that? Any questions so far about contrast before I go any further into the other two topics? So while I'm waiting here, just want to give you guys a quick intro to me. My name is Hillis, and for those of you that don't know who I am a writer, poet, psychic medium, and you guys can visit more about me at hillispew.com. And yes, I can explain that again. So, going back to the affirmation that I spoke about previously, to where, thank you, Carrie, to where the person said, I'm thankful that didn't happen to me. Whether if it was something very minute or something on a grander scale, something more horrific, where that person who's being a witness to the person experiencing that outcome isn't quite aware of what the person experiencing that incident, that occurrence in their life. So, when we look at the person who's on the inside experiencing that occurrence in their life, we have to consider how they attracted it. Because that's what it comes down to, is how each person attracts an event, an occurrence, or anything in their lives, because there's nothing that is coincidence. So when we look at that and we take it like, oh, that happened to them, but we don't know why that happened to them. We can make any assumption that we desire to make us feel good about what happened to them, but it's what they attracted, it's what they wanted, because of the simple fact that they put a signal or call out to the universe like, hey, universe, I want to be this, or I want to be that, or I want to attract more of this in my life. And to be sure of that soul desire of attraction in your life, we often experience the contrast, the opposite of what we desire. And the reason why that is because we have to be sure that we really want what we want. Does that make sense now? Do you kind of get that? Thank you guys for all the hearts, all the love. I really appreciate it. So be sure to invite your followers and to be sure to tap on the screen for hearts and love. Yay! I'm glad you guys got it. Yeah, because when we have, so contrast serves to teach. Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it's kind of a trick too, Carrie, because experiencing contrast is the equivalent to what you want. And to be solely sure of what it is that you do want, in most cases, not all, but most cases, especially the stronger the desire, the stronger the contrast. We will experience the opposite just to be sure this is what we want of our lives. So, I'm going to move on to the next one here, which is, and it kind of goes hand in hand, which is a comparison. So hold on to that question, how does one deal with jealousy? I would get to that in just one moment because I believe that what I'm going to go into next will answer your question. If it doesn't, let me know. So it is, we're going to go into comparison, and that speaks to, the other information that I spoke of earlier is I am thankful that I woke up today. So, and the follow up to that is, if somebody else doesn't wake up, then where do they wake up at? So that one kind of like got me to thinking like, what is that person really trying to say when it's like, I'm happy that I woke up today? Are they comparing what they have in their life now to what could possibly be on the other side? And that pretty much goes hand in hand with jealousy as well, because it's the envy of what someone else's have that we don't. For example, as the old cliche says, the grass is always greener on the other side. And that's only because we haven't experienced what that other side is. And then once we have experienced what that other side is, then, we tend to release that jealousy. We tend to get a better understanding that the grass is only greener where we put our attention and our focus to. So when we compare, apples and oranges, you can't compare the two because they're completely different. They're different in a sense of, tangibility and how they feel, sense of smell, sense of taste. They're altogether two different things. So when you take one, it's like, oh, I really love how this looks, I love how it feels, but then you see the other one hanging over here, it's like, ooh, that one looks even better. Then you try to obtain something that's out of your reach. And then when you look at that, then the one that's in your attention now, it loses its shine, it loses its glimmer, then you lose focus on it, and then you try to obtain something else. And that is when we continue to move on, go forward, and just, keep trying to get something better, which is fine, when always reaching for something better, always reaching for something even more than what you have already to improve and evolve and grow. But at the same time, you also have to think about why is the reason why this object up here is grabbing your attention as opposed to the one down here. So, when you reach for the brass ring or the low-hanging fruit, something that's more obtainable, then you tend to lose focus and start comparing your life to everything around you. You start comparing everything to everything, and does this make sense or does that make sense? So the comparison of the quality of which we choose to create allows for the jealousy to set in. So when thank you, Greasy Girl. So when we tend to go ahead and move forward in that comparison, when does the cycle stop? Does it stop when we finally get to that place of reaching the unattainable? Maybe not. I can say it probably doesn't, only because that, our cycle of creation never ends. Exactly, it doesn't stop because you keep creating, you keep wanting more, you keep wanting more, you keep wanting more. It's consumption. It's the desire for not being fed. Whatever it is that you're wanting, whatever it is that your desire is not being fulfilled. So until that aspect is being fulfilled, then you're going to continue this constant cycle of comparing and wanting even more. But at the same time, what are you creating for? What are you trying to feel? So you have to ask yourselves these questions. Why am I comparing my life to someone else's life? I've asked for this and I have to accept it for what it is. So we just have to keep in this space to allow for more of our acceptance of now our flow and our compassion to just really flow in and ease into our lives. Does that answer your question, When? Does that kind of like clear things up for you? Because I know you was talking about jealousy, and hope that kind of cleared it up for you. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say content. I would say that you should be more accepting. And accepting is different from content, because content means you're just settling. And yes, exactly, self acceptance. So when you come to a place and you accept what it is that's happening, what's going on, then you are able to move forward in the energy of love. Because that's what it is. Acceptance is the energy of love. And content means like, I'm okay right where I'm at. I'm not going to move from this spot. Even if someone comes and tries to attempt to move you from your spot physically or energetically, we tend to put up a resistance to someone moving us. So when we put up this resistance to someone moving us, then what do? We put up even more of a fight. So the more someone tries to move us, the more we fight them, which is also part of contrast. It's like, why are you moving me? I'm happy where I'm at. Don't touch me. I'm fine right here. But are you really fine where you are is the question. And if not, then what will it take for you to move out of that space to be better? Well, that's a question to ask you. So if you're feeling that you're stuck and you need to move and you're feeling content, then you have to ask yourself, why am I feeling content? There's so much more for me out there. How do I move forward? What do I do? How can I get to this place of love and self acceptance? So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching me live tonight on this gratitude session, where we are talking about comparison and contrast and comparing and all the choices that we make in our everyday. So it really helps to understand, to bring awareness to how we live our lives. And to get to know more about me, you can go to hillispew.com. You can find out more about my blogs, my writings, my poetry, my psychic mediumship. And can you put that question back up? I just missed that, because I would really love to answer that question for you. So if you want to know all things Hillis, just visit hillispew.com. And I am happy to share my knowledge and wisdom with you all. So now there was a question. I'm waiting for that question to pop back up because I missed it just by that much. Because it was fading away as I looked at the screen. Yes. And that's a really amazing question. And when you are in a place of being content, it really is the energy that you are attracting. It's really about the energy that you're sitting in. And in order to move that energy, in order to really move the energy around, you really have to ask yourself, why am I content? Why am I just settling in this space? Why am I settling in this energy? When you know or have a desire to know there is more out there for you to create and to move into. But it can, yeah, exactly. Probably, I was just getting ready to say that, yes, definitely fear to move forward, or it could be depression. It could be a lot of factors to why you're in this place of contentment and not wanting to move forward. Are you content because you're comfortable? And if you're comfortable, you don't want to take the chance to move forward, to do better and to do more. Or are you content and just settled because, this is what you're used to? And this being used to that, feel like I'm being blocked from higher levels. Can you expound on that? Higher levels, are you talking about, in your employment, or are you talking about spiritually? Because, when someone says higher levels, to me, that means, spiritually, and talking to my guides and everyone else, the angels. So yeah, if you can explain that just a little bit more, just want to be clear before I can give you a definite answer with that. And thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for all the hearts and love. Thank you for inviting your followers to this evening's gratitude session. I appreciate it so much. So just waiting for that clarity of that question to come back up. Yes, I'm making strides. So if you feel like you're making strides and you want and have a desire to move ahead, you have to look at what it would take for you to move forward. You have to focus your attention, because pretty much anything that we focus on is what we attract. Anything that we focus on, compare our lives to, is what basically, bottom line, is what we are attracting. So if we're focusing on, I'm just comfortable, I'm going to stay here, then that's what's going to happen. If you're focusing on that I'm going to stay right here in the bottom, even though I want to move forward and don't know how to move forward, then that's your fear holding you in that place of contentment. That's your desire of wanting to move forward. But at the same time, you have a strong desire to move forward, that this is a form of contrast that's also showing up. And sometimes when we are unable to recognize that level of contrast that shows up in our lives, then we do get settled, we do have fear that sets in. So it also comes down to our level of awareness. So we have to become aware of the contrast that shows up in our lives. We have to become aware of how we feel about what's happening. And sometimes our fear and everything that shows up is an alarm going off saying, hey, wake up, we gotta move, we gotta change, we gotta do something. And sometimes the desire to evolve, to change, to improve is greater than the physical action itself. So, so the next step would be, what physical action would I take to move to the next step? Because we can, create and manifest all we want, but it's us taking that physical action to complete the cycle, or to move the cycle forward, or to get out of the cycle. So your next step could be writing something down in a journal. It could be approaching someone at work. It could be approaching a friend. As long as you get the energy moving, as long as you get the energy flowing, whether if it's talking, writing, approaching someone, taking a chance, get out of that place of fear, that place of depression, that place of self-loathing, because there's nothing worse than disliking yourself. Because if you dislike yourself, everyone else around you is going to know that, okay, that's not a happy person. So we have to move forward in that energy, in that space, to allow for more of what we want. So, and I feel like I have to share experience with you guys, because I'm loving all the love, I'm loving all the feedback from you all, but I feel like there's the experience of mine that I have to share for you guys to truly understand. Yes. So for me, I'm trying to think of one really good standout experience that I can share with you, where I was in a place of fear. Yes. Okay, here's one. So, if you guys are just tuning in, just real quick before I give this example of contrast and how to move out of it. We're talking about tonight's gratitude session, where we're talking about contrast, comparison, and the choices that we make in our everyday, and helping us to move forward out of the stuck energies that we're in. So, to move forward in my example. So, as most of you all know, I am a writer, poet by trade, a very inspirational writer. And, you know, for years, people were telling me, Hillis, you should write a book. Hillis, you should share your writings. Hillis, you should do this. Hillis, you should do that. And I'm like, nah, I'm okay right where I'm at. Working in a financial institution, had a cushy job, a lot of fun, worked with a lot of amazing people. And I was like, nah, I'm okay where I'm at. I don't need to be a writer. And growing up when I did, you really couldn't, make money as a writer. You couldn't make, money doing these things, at least that's what I was told. So, sticking with the regular 9 to 5, working every day, and, there it is. And I'm in this energy, and I'm in this space, loving what I'm doing, but I know there's something more. I know there's something greater for me to do. And reflecting back into my high school years, I was always a writer. I always loved to write. I always loved to share my creative energy with others. And with that being said, I took a leap of faith. I looked up self-publishing companies because, then I didn't know anything about publishing or writing or did anything. So I took a leap of faith. I found my first self-publishing company, and I self-published my first poetry book back in, back in 96, 97 years ago. And when I did that, it allowed me to move the energy forward into more of what I love to do, which is to share my work and to share my wisdom with others. Because the main reason why I write and express myself, and the main reason why I do it today, is because I've experienced a lot in my young life. And I know that there have been hundreds and thousands of people experiencing the same thing I have. And to this day, as I'm sitting here, I know this to be true. And I write because I share my wisdom and knowledge with others, because I know there have been other people out there who have not had the guidance to help them on their path. And that's why I do it today. So that's a good way of moving out of it, because I took action in my passion. And that's pretty much what you have to do. You have to take the action towards your passion. Hashtag tweetable moment. Hashtag passion to your action. Am I empathetic? I used to be an empath. I'm more clairvoyant now, because somehow I had an experience that I'm not going to go into, to where I felt a lot at one time and I wasn't ready for it. So somehow I turned the switch off, and I haven't turned it on since. But I still do feel and hear and see things. So yeah, where do you think divine timing fits in with this? It fits in when you're ready. And I know that's a broad statement, but it's the truth. It fits in when you are ready, when you are in alignment with what your passion is. And I've been writing for years, and other people is instantaneously. Other people just take some time when you're energetically aligned, when you're physically ready to accept what it is that you are creating, when you're ready to accept what it is that you are receiving. So I know that's probably not what you want to hear, but you will know it, you will feel it when it's right for you. And definitely there's no mixed energies, as are mixed emotions when you feel it. And I can't really describe that divine feeling of knowing that this is for me. This is what is meant to be. This is what's going on. So you just really will know that which when it happens. Yes. Carrie, so true. So the last one, guys, thank you so much for all your questions. I hope that all cleared up into getting the answers for you in regards to contrast and comparison, because it's a lot to really take in and to hone into when we are not aware of what shows up in our lives. So the key here, guys, just to sum it up before I move on, is to really tune in and become aware of the energy that you're sitting in and the energy and the manifestations that show up when they show up. And give thanks to the contrast, because without the contrast, you wouldn't really know what you really want to go after. Okay. So now moving on to the last one, which is choices. And this one really got me. The affirmation that I spoke of earlier is I am thankful for X, Y, and Z because someone else is worse off. And that really got my wheels turning. It's like, because someone else is worse off. You know, I know that a lot of us had experienced a time or two where we are thankful for what we have, in our life, having a place to live, having food to eat, and just all the things that we take for granted every single day. But at the same time, when someone makes that statement, I'm, grateful for X, Y, and Z because someone else is worse off, it kind of like, okay, no one is worse off than what they appear to be. It's our perception that we place on the outside. It's our perception, our views that we place on that in which we see. And when we put our perception on that, when we put our label on that occurrence, that event, that situation, then it becomes something more than, I'm, not trying to sound bad or anything, but, just I'm better than you, or just having this air about you, because everyone has a choice. And that's what it comes down to. Everyone on this planet has a choice of what they do. So, in all honesty, my personal view is that no one is worse off than anyone else. However, everyone has a choice. Everyone has a choice to live in an apartment, live in a mansion, live anywhere they want, eat what they want, do what they want, feel how they want. Everyone has a choice. For example, and I know what this person was referencing when they said this, but they were comparing, their life, to a homeless person. And just to further that comparison, yes, a homeless person can go to a shelter where they provide, a hot bed or a warm bed, and then go to a soup kitchen to where they have food, for them. Same thing as someone who's in jail. Now, they have a place to sleep, they have a place to stay. It may not be the ideal lives in which we have a vision for the world, or the community in which we live in, but it's a life that they chose to learn a lesson that they have chosen for on this life. So, with that being said, we all come here with a choice. We all come here with a free will to choose the life in which we have chose to live. I'm going to repeat that. We have all come here to live the life that we have chosen to live, no matter how our individual perception is of someone else. Got it? Good. Because, we as individual souls have lived many lives and have allowed all the lessons that we have accumulated in each life to occur in this one. And if there's something we didn't do in the last life, then we live it in this one. And so all of us on a soul level have been homeless. All of us on a soul level has been incarcerated. And we have each all taken these lessons, and now we tend to label our perception of having a desire to feel bad. And that's the key. We feel bad because someone is homeless. We feel bad because someone's incarcerated, and so forth and so on. And this is what the energy does when we put this label on someone. How do you feel? So, guys, I want you guys to chime in real quick with a quick yes or no. How many of you guys feel bad when you see a person who is homeless or see a person who's incarcerated? How many of you guys feel bad? Quick yes, no, chime in real quick. Yeah, see, feel bad, yes. So I know there's 11 of you guys in here, and I appreciate you all. So yeah, so if you guys feel bad, tell me why you guys feel bad. I want to know, because to me, as I have gone on my spiritual path, there is no good, there is no bad, there just is. And the choices that we make and the isness of those choices allow for us to grow and to be better. Yes, the lack of a better home. So yeah, so exactly. But I just want to express to you guys, exactly, I feel they're missing out on a home, stable home. So yeah, and I appreciate the level of empathy that you guys feel with them. I have empathy for them as well. And I've only know 2 people that have ever talked to a homeless person before. I have yet to do that. So I can't really say why, people are out on the streets doing what they're doing. But I can definitely say from secondhand that, the people who are homeless, for sure, definitely it's their choice, because they let their pride get in the way. And I can definitely relate to that because, there was a point in my life where I had to ask for handouts, and which started me on my path of gratitude, where I have to ask for help. And I wasn't, happy to ask for help, and we all get to a point where we all have to ask for help from someone, whether if it's a friend, family member, the government, it doesn't matter. At some point, we all have to ask for help. And these people that are out here on these streets, they are too prideful, too proud to ask for help. And that's their choice. So we have to pretty much understand, bottom line here, guys. I appreciate you guys showing all the love and inviting all your followers to tune into this, because this is a little deep for me, because I could have been one of those people out on the streets. Any one of us could have, but it's wow. It's all about the choices, and every choice that we make impacts the choices to come. So when we take the time to understand that it's not us, it's them, but it's our perception of what we see impacts that. So here's another thing that impacts the energy that we see and what we do. So I want to thank you guys for saying, yes, we should send love. I was just getting ready to say that. But it's more than just sending love. It's more about anything that we focus on and anything that we feel amplifies that energy. So if we walk past, someone who's in need, whether for somebody who's on the side of the road, someone who's getting beat up, someone who's getting, on the streets homeless, it doesn't matter. If we watch and view something with our own perception and we feel bad about it, that only amplifies the negative energy, the contrast of that in which we see. So when we add that negative energy to it, then of course what's going to happen is going to be multiplied, it's going to be amplified, and more of the same is going to keep popping up. So what do? We send love. Yay! We send love to all of that, and we just enough is enough. We have to just be in a place of accepting of, okay, this is the reality, and understand that this is their choice. And we have to not understand their choice, but empathize and sympathize with this is the way that they chose to live their life, to learn the lesson that they were meant to learn. And just as an example, I know some of you might have read Conversations with God, and it was really enlightening for me personally to read that because Neil Donald Walsh was a homeless man. He was a homeless man before he finished the three-part series. So while he was on the streets and shared his stories about how he would have conversations with God being a homeless man. So sometimes it's not until we are at our lowest moments we recognize who we are. We recognize and accept what we are here to do because everything else is quiet. We don't have anything else to focus on but ourselves. So in those moments, we do see everything for what it is. See, to answer your question, does karma play a role? It really depends on who you ask. Because if you ask Abraham, there's no such thing as karma. But karma is tricky sometimes. It's sometimes it could double-edged sword. Sometimes it's not. But karma just really comes down to what I just spoke about, the choices that we make. So if we choose to, ignore someone who's in distress, and one day you're in distress, is it because you ignored that one person? Maybe, maybe not. It just really depends on, your personal belief system. So if you believe that, if you steal something from a grocery store, or if you, cheat somebody out of a few bucks, or if you, whatever it is, whatever that is going to happen to you, then yes, if you believe that. But if you don't believe it, then, 50-50, could be, couldn't be. So it just really depends on your personal belief system. So guys, are there any questions about choices or the comparison or contrast issues that we talked about? Because I can go on all night and talk. And just so you guys know, I want to tune in or find out more about me. My name is Hillis Pugh, and you can find out all information about me at hillispugh.com, where you can see all my writings, all my poetry, all my meditations, and all things Hillis. And if you guys want to know about my psychic mediumship, you can also go there, find out, and schedule an appointment with me as well. So yeah. Yeah, Carrie, it's a lot to take in when we have our perception, when we take our personal experiences and look at the outside world with